fate to be, and where's their final destination?
I wouldn't go as far as saying, I wouldn't dare to even think about where they would be. But let's divert your question to something about the ending of the film. Obviously, not the bookends ending, the ending in front of the TV stores. Uh, I was very, very tempted to not have them see each other and just walk away. Of course, I wouldn't dare to. Back then, I couldn't. But in reality, a lot of people said, I think it's an open ending. I think they would probably have a cup of coffee and then went their separate ways. That's that's the reason why the title is almost lost. I was just talking with a young lady just now outside who loves romantic movies, and I said I'm never into romantic movies. Even when I was younger, because yeah, this seems very much like a romance, but it's really an affair, basically. If you look at it from the perspective of his Li Xiaojun's wife, Xiaoting, this is an affair, and it's not the kind of love story that everybody yearns for, and at the same time, I think that they didn't love each other enough. They certainly have different priorities, especially on Li Qiao's character, Maggie's character. What she said on the intersection on Nathan Road is that you didn't come to Hong Kong to be with me. I didn't come to Hong Kong to be with you. So that was so true. So if they did love each other, they would. I mean, if it's the kind of romantic love that you see in great love stories, they should have been together a long time.
No, but it's also a very typical love story in the sense when you look at Chinese fiction from the 20s, the Mandarin Duck and Butterfly tradition, the love triangle where the one protagonist has to navigate between his obligation and moral duty to his true passion. That is done over and over. And Ti Xiaoyu and love, John Hunshred's, love and fate, the tears.
Wow.
That's the core
very
story.
intellectual.
But we see this kind of pattern. So in that sense, it's kind of a new take on something that a story that has been told in different iterations.
True. In that sense, I would tell you another inspiration as I was making the movie. I did say that I try to make Midnight Cowboy, but it's probably never my kind of movie, even though I aspire to make something like that. But then this would be compared to, I hope that in my mind I was making Casablanca. So Pao is David Henry, and Li Xiaojun is Humphrey Bogart, and Maggie is Ingrid Bergman. And then I actually remake this movie years later into a musical, Perhaps Love, and the triangle is exactly the same. And Jackie Chung, the director, is David Henry in that case, and Takeshi Kaneshiro is Humphrey Bogart, and Joe Shin is Maggie, which is Ingrid Bergman. So I I think that kind of love triangle was interesting for me, and so I made it twice. And the second time around, I tried to make it even more realistic, even though it's a musical that is taking it off from being realistic. So people keep thinking that this is more realistic than Perhaps Love, but at the core, Perhaps Love is more honest and cool to a certain degree as a love story. Um, and this is more sugar coated. And that's why this film sticks with people a lot more, because it's actually more sugar coated. But you know what? Nowadays, with the younger generation, it's actually better to make them not be together. Because yearning and unrequited love is much more romantic than a happy ending. There are a lot of really commercial mainland Chinese movies that at the end you think they should be together and they end up not being together and people cry their guts out because they're not together. I was just born a little too early. Should have been a younger director and then I could get it my way.
Well, I would love to keep going, but I'm gonna try to not be selfish and give some time to all of you. So I think we have a microphone to go to the audience. Yes, so if you raise your hand, there's one way in the back. Yeah, just wait a moment for the microphone. Is someone, is there an usher to help with the microphone?
Hi. So I'm a movie fan and also a young filmmaker. Um, at first I want to say, in the past 3 to 4 years, right? We always heard about like Chinese film markets. We need sci-fi genre, right? But actually, it is. But what I want to say is, in my opinion, in Chinese film market, we need two genres, two genre. One is about music. Chinese film market is a big music market, but we don't have much music or musical genre. Also, the second one is sports. We are a big country, have a big market for sports, but we don't have a lot of good sports stories. It's less than five if you can count. And I want to say, Mr.
I
Peter
made
Chan.
two.
Yes, Mr. Peter Chan. I want to say he made both these two genre into two good movies. Perhaps Love, 如果爱 and Leap 夺冠, and also including Fearless, 亲爱的 and Partners 中国合伙人. I think Mr. Peter Chan, why we really respect him is what he did is he shot stories that Chinese film market never had before. So yeah, I think Mr. Peter Chan made a very huge contribution for Chinese movie. That's the first I want to say. And for this movie, I got two questions. Be honest, my first time see this in theater, big screen, is in 2015. I think it's in mainland China. This movie is re-screened in theater, and I think it's excellent. I got two questions. The first one is when Li Qiao see Pao Ge's dead body to see the tattoo, Li Qiao just smiled. But most, I think, actors, they might cry, but for Li Qiao's reaction is smile. I think it's very special, and this is one of my favorites. So my question is, how you guys find this acting inspiration when you guys shot the film? And my second question is, when you guys shot the New York scene, I think the rule is totally different in Hong Kong. So when you guys shot in New York, any challenges you face? That's my two questions.
Okay, your first question that the brilliant acting from Maggie for that shot, I've said it over and over again on the internet, and it's always been misinterpreted. There are people even saying that it's actually an NG take because it's 叫什么笑场是吧？他笑场 I mean, and that's really ridiculous because I've said it over and over again that that was her choice. It was the first take. And I actually didn't like it. So I as a director, it's probably my biggest, in my career, that was my biggest misjudgment ever. So I didn't like it, not because I didn't think it was right. I felt that there is, 怎么说呢？就有表演的痕迹。
Traces of the performativity.
Wow. I was like, I felt like maybe it was the first take, maybe I was surprised, and and back then we have no playback. Whatever you shot is what you get, and you won't know until like a week later on the dailies. We didn't have monitors back then, so I was like, it took me by surprise, and I kept asking me to do it again. And she did 8 takes until she couldn't cry anymore. She said, I can't. I mean, I've thought of everything that I can that is sad in my life, but I can't think of more things. And so I said, okay, let's go back and decide on editing. So it was completely her instinct as an actress, her instinct as an actress. And I went back in editing and I realized that, I really fucked up. That was the best take. So we used that. And your question number 2 is, sorry, what was that?
Challenges of shooting in New
Oh,
York.
that was the smoothest shoot ever. As opposed to shooting in New York years later with 做合伙人, American Dreams in China. It was supposed to party. I mean, it's different crew, obviously, but back then it was non-union. We have Chinese American production manager, and we have a team full of NYU grads that are young, grips, focus puller. We brought very few people from Hong Kong, but they were all game for whatever we do. We were running around Times Square, shooting, and nobody knew who we are, and because Maggie and Leon are not faces that are recognizable back then, we were just shooting. And permits and everything was like, we don't need permits, we were just shooting everywhere. Guerrilla. It's even better than Hong Kong. Those 2 weeks of shoot in New York was one of the smoothest shoot and the best shoot in my entire life. But then when we went back for American Dreams in China, it was very difficult. Still non-union, but it was very, very difficult. It was very difficult. It has changed. I don't think it's the rules of New York. I think it's just the crew and the production manager. It's just who you're dealing with and who your partners are.
I'm getting signals, we have to wrap already. There is a reception, but this has been such a gift to not only see this film in its original format, but to hear it firsthand from the master, Peter Chan. And I'm wondering, I know we're out of time, but for young filmmakers in the audience, any advice for them in terms of their future career in film?
Just make what you believe in, because I know that I've always been adjusting myself every which way I can to make it work, doing different genres, because that's the only way to get your movie made. But at the core of it, it doesn't matter what you make, just not to be stubborn, but at the same time be very, very stubborn of what you really want, because you are your first audience. You never know what the audience like, so you can't guess what the audience like. You have to like it first. If you don't like it, you can't make it well. So you have to like it first. But obviously, a lot of people that do that ended up not having a career at all. But I was lucky that I could actually be very firm about what I want, but at the same time being very, very open to all kinds of things.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, if you could just wait one moment, I think they want to do a group picture with the audience and everyone together. Sure. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.